Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. It's a we've had quite a few cold days in the UK. Then surprisingly, today is a glorious warm day. I'm just coming out in the evening and I've decided to come and do a few things at the allotment. It's late in the season, but it's surprisingly warm, so I've decided to come out and get some fresh air and see if there's any bits and pieces I can do. Today we woke up to the sad news that Tito Jackson, yes, that's Tito Jackson, some lovely apples here, all fallen on the floor. Yeah, we woke up to the sad news that Tito Jackson, one of the founding members of the Jackson 5, had passed away at the age of 70. In fact, if he had lived another month, he would have been 71. So it's been said he was driving from one part of America to another and he passed away. Some are saying it's a suspected heart attack. Somebody close to him has apparently said it was a heart attack. So that will have to wait for confirmation. But still, I know I'm a person, I grew up listening to the Jackson 5s. They were, real life heroes. Clean living, producing some great songs, having the time of their lives apparently. So we all love dancing and listening to the Jackson 5 music. And Tito, he seems such a cool guy. He seems such a cool member. So he's the second brother of the founding members. There was 5 of them. There's 10 children in all, but it was 5 in the original Jackson 5, and Tito was one of them. So 10 children. We all know Michael Jackson. Most will know Jermaine Jackson. We all of course will know Janet Jackson and Latoya Jackson. And I did mention Jermaine, but it's 10. And 5 were in the original Jackson 5. Michael passed first. Not much past 50. Michael Jackson passed first. It must be, coming up to 10 years. Seems such a long time now since Michael Jackson passed. But now, older brother Tito has passed too. So, it's something, it's life, it's part of life. It is part of life. Life and death go hand in hand. But it's always sad when one of our heroes goes to the other side. One of our musical heroes. So I've just come to see what needs doing on this allotment. For me, it is coming to end of season. It is coming to the end of season. Well, harvest season. You can see all those are the pears which fell to the floor. They all just fell to the floor and they all just compost into the ground. And again, a lot of the apples, they fell to the floor and again they will just compost into the ground. So yes, the second big name from the original Jackson 5 has passed. He's left 3 sons. 3 sons and apparently think nine grandchildren. 9 grandchildren behind. So 3 sons and 9 grandchildren. I was listening to that today. I'm just looking what is left. As you can see, these apples are kind of left on the tree. They're kind of dying off. All the blackberries kind of died off. We're really at the end of season now. We might get a few things. There is still a few little apples on the tree, but we are really end of season. You got some real red apples high up there. But the plums, they're all gone. The Victoria plums. And I would say all these damsons have gone. Nearly all of them have gone. You got maybe just a few left. They'll be soft and kind of soggy now, so I'm not really interested in picking them. So this will all be grown again next year. This is a blackcurrant plant. These are the blackcurrant plants. And we've got the blueberry bushes. Look at the apples on the floor. All fallen off the tree. Look how much waste this is. When you think, you say UK pounds for big apples like this in the supermarket, organic, you'd have to be paying at least £2. And just look how many of them are on the floor, hundreds. And I couldn't control it. It's just like sometimes the winds overnight, you stay away for a couple of days and you just come back to your allotment and you see a whole heap of apples on the floor. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just one of those things. So we do what we can. We do what we can. We try and keep the place tidy. We have our clippings, our cuttings. We put them in the composters. I've got a couple of composters for this site. There's a couple of composters. This is a separate apple tree. There's still quite a few apples on this tree. Quite a few actually. And they look very good actually. So quite a few apples on this tree. I'll also take a few before I go. Why buy when you can pick? There's even more on this tree. Yeah, I'll take a few before I go today. Just a few. And in between here, we have pears growing. I'm not sure if you can see them, but we have pears. They're growing here. It's a different kind of pear. It's a different kind of pears. But I picked a couple a few days ago and they're really nice. They're really nice. So I had them. I had those pears, and as you can see, they're mixed with all of these apples which are on the floor. Stepping on all of them. Crunching, and they're crunching beneath my foot. They're crunching. That's what a crunched apple looks like. So, yes, going back, one of the great singers, the great groups of our era, one of the greatest groups of our era, the Jacksons, has lost a second member today. And this follows the week. It's been a week of we had the lead singer of Maze, Frankie Beverly. He passed age 76. And what was it, earlier this week? And we had that Lion King. What's the voice of the Lion King? The Lion King. Earl's James Jones. he also passed, but he lived to a ripe old age. Was it 90? I think it was 91. I believe it was 91. I believe it was 93 actually. I think James Earl Jones was 93 and he had a, I believe, 42-year-old son. He only had one son. He was married twice. Yeah, he was married twice and he had one son. His second wife passed away, I think it was about, it must be about 9 years ago, if I remember right. She passed away and he survived her. She was a good few years younger than him, but he survived her and lived till 93. It's a good old age. It's a good old age, a good ripe old age he lived to. That's James Earl Jones. So we had James Earl Jones, we had Frankie, Beverly, and now Tito Jackson. In the space of all about a week, it seems like a week, or a couple of weeks, all three great people have gone. And every time somebody passes of significance, we always, we look at our lives and it really makes us evaluate our lives, doesn't it? Does get you thinking. Does get you thinking about life in general. And makes you really want to make the most of your life. I just picked these couple of natural pears. See, this is what fruit looks like without the pesticides. That's what it looks like without the pesticides. Straight from the tree. See, what you're getting in the supermarket, they put all the pesticides so they look perfect. They look perfect. When you're growing them organic lettuce, they're not going to look perfect, not all of them. They're certainly not all going to look perfect. I'm just breaking the stem off. I don't want to take this big stem home, do I? So I'm just going to break this stem off and put it in a basket. I'll see if I can fill this basket up. I don't think on this particular pear tree there's anything left. Mind you, I said I don't think there's anything left because these pears on this tree are absolutely delicious. There's a certain type of pear on this tree. There's one I can see. Oh! It fell off onto the ground while I was picking it, but I saw where it fell. And again, this is organic. You just saw I picked it straight from the tree. Organic. But those are really nice pears, those ones. As soon as they get yellow like this, yum, yum, yum. I've literally had hundreds of pears, apples. I've had so many for the last couple of months. I haven't bought any apples or pears or plums or anything of that nature from the shops. So I've just been coming here, filling up the tub and using them, giving the neighbours some. There's been so much I've had to give some to the neighbours, which they seem to be appreciative of. And they also bring me stuff like, what do they bake? They bake these scones and stuff. And they will bring scones and stuff for me. So that's nice. It's good to have neighbours like that, you look out for each other. There's another few neighbours I'll pass and ask them, do they need anything? Do they want any apples or pears or whatever? And they're always glad actually, because they know it's organic stuff I've got here. They know it's organic stuff I've got here. So while I'm here, I should take a couple of these. You see the pears on this particular tree here. the pears here, they certainly wouldn't make it onto the supermarket shelf because they haven't got that perfect look. They haven't got that perfect look. But when you pick them, they're such a delightful. I mean, when you taste them, they haven't got that perfect look, but they taste absolutely delicious. Absolutely delicious, these ones. They're big, but they taste so nice. But you know, the supermarkets would reject them. They would throw them away. They would throw these away because they don't look perfect. But you peel the skin off, they taste so nice. They taste so nice. And you can see the size of that one compared to the yellow one. You see the different sizes, but it's natural. Straight from the tree, no chemicals. No chemicals. And that's how it should be. I suppose that's how the Garden of Eden was. I'm not sure if any of you know your Bible, but in the Bible, we speak. You go to Genesis, that's the first book of the Bible, and it speaks about the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve. It talks about God creating the perfect man and woman. And all they had to do was attend. All they had to do was attend to a beautiful garden. Had animals in there. Had animals, had plants, had food, had everything. Had apples. Had apples. Every fruit it had in there. But all they had to do was tend to the garden. Tend to the garden. And God just asked them not to eat of one particular tree. Just to eat. Just one tree you're not allowed to eat of. And apparently the lady Eve, she said, what you mean about not eat of that tree? What you mean? What you mean about not eat of that tree? Me I can eat what I want. Adam was skeptical. But you know, guys, some guys, you know, when it comes to women, they turn fool. And look at this one here. My gosh, I touched one and the two of us just fell off the floor. When they're extremely ripe, that's what happens. As soon as you touch it, it just drops to the floor. It was three in a bunch. I just touched this one. The other two fell to the floor. And I don't know exactly where they've fallen. But anyway, God just said to Eve, Adam, you can have anything in the garden. You can have anything in that garden. But don't eat of one tree. Just don't eat of one tree. That's all I'm telling you. You're forbidden to eat of one tree. And Eve, again pushing at her chest. Why, Adam? I'm going to eat off that tree. Adam, you're going to eat off that tree too. But Adam said, no, God said we mustn't eat off that tree. We mustn't eat off that tree, Eve. You can have everything. You got the world. You got everything. You got everything. You got everything. But just that one tree you're not allowed to eat off. And Eve was like defiant. Adam, I'm telling you, you're going to eat off that tree. Adam, you're going to eat off that tree, I said. Adam, you're going to eat off that tree. And Adam, so weak by the sight of the woman. You know, man get weak by the sight of a woman. Adam got so weak, so foolish. He defied God. And he went and ate off that tree. He went and ate off that tree. He ate an apple off the tree. You know, and in fact it was a serpent actually. It was a serpent which actually tempted Eve. A serpent tempted Eve and dared her to eat off that tree. And she went and convinced Adam. So let's get the story straight. It was a serpent which tempted Eve and made her go and deceive Adam. Terrible, a serpent. You choose a serpent over God. The man who created life for them, gave them life. The man who gave them life, the person who, the life form which gave them life, they chose. There's another lovely apple. No, sorry, another one of those outer-shaped pears I've got. So they chose to listen to the serpent. So the serpent had Eve under its spell, and Eve went and took her womanly ways which can turn a man silly and let him lose focus. And she went and made Adam carry out the serpent's desires. I believe the serpent represents, the devil, Satan, tempting man. So Adam, he defied God. He bit into the apple, and as soon as he bit into the apple, wow. Shortly after, God appeared and said, "Why are you hiding?" He saw Adam and Eve. They were hiding, covering up themselves. They noticed that they were, when you're in the Garden of Eden, the two original inhabitants in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, they didn't know nakedness. It was just like natural. It's just like you see animals scattering, running around. You see all the animals in the world, they're just running around. There's no perverseness about them. There's not that kind of stuff about them. Sexual perverseness, there's not that about them. But Adam and Eve, they were like that. They were pure. But as soon as they ate the apple, wow. As soon as they ate the apple, they could see each other. They were aware that each other were naked, and they grabbed stuff to hide their nakedness. Was it fig leaves or something? They got to hide their nakedness. And God came and said, well, why are you hiding? He knew exactly why they're hiding. He knew exactly why they were hiding. But he wanted them to admit to their wrong. Did they admit to their wrong? I don't think they did. Because God said, well, for your disobedience, I'm going to expel you out of the Garden of Eden. And from now on, you shall go out and you shall survive by the sweat of your brow. That was when men and women had to go and start working. And he said, women are going to suffer in labor. Suffer when they're having labor, when they're giving birth. I just picked another big pear. He said, women are going to suffer when they give birth. Ooh. All of this because of disobedience. So I'm just relating this story about Adam and Eve because this is like my little Garden of Eden. It's like my little Garden of Eden. So that thought just came to mind. I can see a couple of roses, the last few roses on the bush here. I know some people like flowers, don't they? I like them. In the house I grew up in, we never had much plants in the house I grew up in, but we did have a rose bush. They do said roses are red, violets are blue. Look at this one. Lovely rose. And these beds need to be dug up, and I did dig these up. I planted some pumpkins in here. And you can see the leaves were coming up. There's 4 leaves really were doing well. But some creatures have come and eaten them. So that's something we've got to put up with. You plant, and the slugs, Into the slugs, the snails, they come and eat everything. I know in the Caribbean now, they have a big problem with giant snails. And the giant snails, they're eating all the crops. Woo! Serious stuff. That's been happening for a while now. We talk about pestilence and the stuff, but you've had a giant slugs. The giant slugs eating away at the crops in Trinidad. So I'm just taking a little stroll outside of my allotment. So yeah, if we go back, that's how Adam and Eve were expelled out of the Garden of Eden, the perfect Eden. They had the perfect life. But you know what? It wasn't enough for them. It wasn't enough for them. Isn't that the same with us as humans? We have everything, but sometimes it's never enough. We always want more and more. And sometimes less is actually more. But we think we need more. We always want more and more to feed our desires. And you think, what are you going to do with all more? What are you going to do with so much more? What are we going to do with so much more in this life? You got to have enough until you're satisfied. When you're satisfied, don't keep on craving for more. Learn to be content. You understand? Learn to be content. So I'm just taking a stroll up and having a look at the different allotments and what people are doing. You know, everybody's got their different allotments and they do different things. So I just thought I'd stretch my feet out. Yeah, I just thought I would come and I'd stretch my feet out. I don't know what's going on with this allotment. There's a lot of junk in here. A lot of junk on this side. So I'm not sure what's going on here. Others are been doing their growing. So yeah, learn to be content, people. Learn to be content. You work hard. Get the things, you know, you really want. Then learn to be content. Don't be one of them people who are just greedy for more and more and more and more until you got so much stuff you don't even need it, but it's just your greed. Your greed just makes you want more and more. It's called gluttony. It's called gluttony. Gluttony. Always wanting more. Always wanting more. You know, so it's about supplying your need, feeding your need, not your greed. Because when you're feeding that greed instead of your need, that's when you become fat. You become fat because you're feeding your greed, not your need. And I'm not just talking about fat in body, I'm talking about fat. You start carrying excess desires. You start carrying excess desires. Your mind becomes gluttonous. Gluttonous for more property, more cash, more this, more that. All you do is want more. More money than you can spend. More this, more that. And you know what, when you become what I call greedalicious, gluttonous, you don't really enjoy life because your mind is never relaxed. Look at this beautiful flower. It looks like a daffodil, but it's not. So that's growing in front. This one's a pretty plain allotment. It's pretty plain, this one. Just a few things growing in the middle. But yeah, if you can't relax and you're constantly just thinking of more and more and more, you're never going to be happy. You're never going to be happy. So think about it. Think about it. Anyway, I've been talking for half an hour now. Wow. Half an hour. Sometimes it's good to talk. It's good to talk. See, the old Gits plot. That's the guy I took it over. He was 91. 91 years old and he was still doing this allotment work. He's better than me. He is better than me. I had a grandfather who lived to that kind of age, and he was a handyman too, you know. He was a carpenter. He was older than his wife, a good bit older than his wife, and he outlived her by a good few years. And he was always, he was fixing his roof in the Caribbean at the age of 80. There was a hurricane. And neighbors came out after the hurricane. And he was on his roof with his hammer, his screwdriver and his tools, pounding away, fixing the roof. Hey, what are you doing on the roof? You're past 80. And he was just like fixing the roof like it's nothing. He was like nothing. He lived on a hill. He lived on a hill. And he used to just walk up and down that hill every day. Right up into his 80s. Right up. Until it was time for him to leave this earth around the age of 90. He would just walk up and down. And sometimes when you're doing things like this, your body becomes tuned. Your body becomes accustomed to that kind of strain, that kind of exercise, where a lot of people, they will get to a certain age and they can't do anything anymore. He was going like a Duracell battery because he had become accustomed to living on top of the hill and going up and down the hill. I'm sure you've heard the nursery rhyme. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. But no, well, my grandfather was named Antoine. So I could say Antoine and Mary went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. They simply walked back down the hill, no falling, no breaking the crown, and they did it day after day after day. They were blessed. Anyway, if you've actually listened to this far and you've enjoyed listening to me and the kind of content I put out as Red Women, I would urge you to subscribe to the channel. It's simple, it's free of charge. You press the button. It's not hard. Helps me, helps you, because every time I put out new stuff, you'll be notified. And some of the subjects may interest you. If they interest you, you watch to the end. If it doesn't interest you, you just flick off and go to some, you'll sign on to something else. So it's no big deal, but at least you get notified when I do put some stuff out. So click that like button, click the subscribe button, because it's good to also like the videos, because when you like the videos, it does encourage the YouTube algorithms to show the videos to more people. It does encourage the YouTube algorithms to show. There's another compost bin I've got. So it does encourage YouTube algorithms to show it to more people. So anyway, guys, I'm going to sign off for now. And the only thing I'm going to say is rest in peace, Tito Jackson. Rest in peace, Frankie Beverly. And of course, James Earls Jones, who all went over the past week. Remember, guys, live your life productively, work hard. But remember, if you're working hard, you play hard. None of us know exactly how much time we've got on this earth. So you work hard, invest some of that money, but enjoy some of that money. It's a fine balance, and I hope you get it right. See you guys in the next video.